Welcome to KnightCap. Sal Internell here for recordonline.com with Time Tower Record columnist Kevin Gleason following Army's 34-20 loss to number 5 Stanford today. Army hung around this game maybe longer than people thought today. They were up 6-0. It was 20-13 at the halftime. A late A.J. Shore touchdown pass to Agripo makes it a 2-touchdown game. They were 30-point underdogs in this game. I know there's no moral victories, but they showed up today.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, absolutely. You know, they can talk all they want about not enjoying a moral victory or not experiencing one. That's a pretty orchestrated effort, I think, on part of the coaching staff to make sure that the kids weren't preaching moral victories. But deep down, they know that they played well today. And the fact that they're within 2 touchdowns pretty much the whole game, they're up, like you said, 6-0. That's about as good as you could have expected, I think, Army to play today. They put the ball on the ground once. But in doing so once, still a far cry from some of the games in which they've just put the ball on the turf too much.
Yeah, I mean, last week they lost 40-14 at Ball State, and Ball State's passing game just had its way with Army secondary. I mean, you look at the stats today, yes, Tyler Gaffney had 132 yards and a touchdown, but there were times where Army's defense kind of stopped Stanford in its tracks, and you were like, wow, if they really play together, they can maybe do something.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, you know, like I said, the fact that they're stopping the 5th-ranked team in the country on many occasions and able to run the option against them. I was talking to Bobby Kough afterwards. He said, you know, if we had played like this, there's no doubt in our minds that we would have beaten Ball State last week. Yeah. And to think that, you know, how much they can build off of this win. If they play like this every week, they're going to win 5 or 6 games. Yeah. If they play like this every week. Now, how healthy are they going to be next week coming off of this game is a major question.
But, I mean, at one point they were without their entire starting backfield. Ray Maples went out with a groin injury. Larry Dixon went out with it looked like a leg injury. Terry Baggett had some kind of, like, forearm injury. I mean, they were
running like flies for a while.
They must have ran in 8 or 9 different running backs today, and to their credit, I mean, Tony Giovanelli had some contributions. Lawrence Scott had some contributions. Hayden Tippett made an amazing block on a 46-yard run by Terry Baggett down the sidelines. He's the backup fullback. Right. So I don't think the offense is, finding. Yeah, you're going to miss a Raymond Maples or Larry Dixon. They have guys, but they have to. I think those first 2 drives when they only scored field goals. I mean, if they punch one of them in for touchdowns, I think maybe it could. I don't know if it would have been different, but it would have given the offense more confidence. You can't beat the number. You can't be the number 5 ranked team in the nation scoring 20 points when you're a triple option offense that usually runs for over 300 yards a game.
Right. You know, the thing right now that I think in moving forward with this team is that they have to figure out the quarterback situation. Mm-hmm. Now. In an odd way, I don't know if having 2 quarterbacks is the worst thing in the world because they're almost interchangeable. I mean, they both do things fairly well, and I think, like Coach is saying right now, they can't decide who to make the number 1. And I can't, from the naked eye, I certainly can't tell a major difference. So maybe it's one of those rare examples where 2 quarterbacks are about the same as 1 quarterback. Until that happens, until we see more of these 2 guys, I don't think we can really tell what route they should go. But generally speaking, you have to make a move on quarterback. You have to have a number 1.
Yeah, I mean, Angel Santiago's first 2 drives, he leads Army to field goals. Then he's on the bench. A.J. Shore's in. I didn't really get that move. I thought maybe leave Angel. The Army was playing well. Why not leave Angel in the game? I know you go into the game wanting to play 2. Maybe that wasn't the right spot for AJ to come in,
right?
And then Angel comes in the last drive of the first half, and it leads them on a touchdown. So it's a little bit. It was kind of weird.
It's a little foggy. It really is because they both can play, and they both can seem to come off cold off the bench, and play okay. They don't really seem to miss a beat when they're missing 3 or 4 series. But all in all, I mean, I don't think they were that far from playing a near perfect game in the sense that if they didn't lose a fumble. I think they dropped 2 and they lost 1. Yeah. And they didn't throw an interception. And if they didn't go for that 4th down on their own 29. I think
we haven't even discussed that.
I think those, there's 12 minutes left and you're down 2 scores. I'm not sure why you're going to try that. I know Coach said I understand what he's saying. I do understand what he's saying. On 3rd down, he threw it. Yeah, 3rd and 1. He decided that it was going to be 2 down territory. And I also agree with him the fact that he probably would, if he was going to second guess himself, which he said this, he would have ran it on 3rd down as well, which he probably should have done. But still, that's an awful gamble on 4th and 1 from your own 29. against the fifth-ranked team in the country, down 2 scores. Basically, that's game over, you know, when Stanford gets that and they go down and score from 29 yards out. So if you take that away, and only a couple other plays away, it's a darn near perfect game for Army. It really is, considering the talent differential.
Yeah, the secondary had a few slip-ups, but
Right.
some of it was coverage. Some of it was a nice wheel, looked like a wheel route by Gaffney down the left-hand side for a 23-yard touchdown in the third quarter. Now, to look ahead, Wake Forest comes in. Wake Forest entered today. They lost to Boston College 24-10 last week. They're playing Louisiana Tech at home, and I think we're in a little bit of a fight. It's not. I don't think it's a game that Army can't win, like you said, if you get the effort that you had today.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It seems like, you know, again, you're just kind of going off the scores and what you see in a few highlight reels. But it seems like, you know, they're certainly capable of beating Wake Forest. Kough told me if they play like they did today, they can win out. And, you know, I don't know if that's all rhetoric. I really don't. Yeah. Because if they play the game that they played today, they're going to be at least in every game.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you got to find a way to win. You got to find ways to win games.
It's certainly a stretch to think that they're going to win them all, but I think they'll be in every one.
I think luck plays a little bit of a role in this because you look at the touchdown pass that Stanford caught. Josh Jenkins tips the ball at the 5, and the ball lands in the hands of a Stanford wide receiver in the end zone.
He makes a play on the ball. He just didn't get enough of a hand on it, you know. And yeah, those things historically seem to happen to Army a lot, But you know, it was a good example of the aggression in Army and the fact that the guy was there to make a play and kind of did make the play, whereas, you know, in other years he might have been 15 yards away from them.
And we're talking about a freshman who I talked to, Josh Jenkins, after the game. He's like, the coaches don't treat me like a freshman; they treat me like I've been around here for a while. And he's starting to play like it a little bit. Only his 3rd game of his career. There's still a lot. He's still young, but he showed by picking the ball off in the end zone today. After 2 plays after he was called for pass interference, he showed that there's some growing up going on during the game.
There's a lot of talent in the youth, and there's some freshmen and sophomores, but there's also some good, you know, upperclassmen, I think, on this team that are starting to show the way a little bit.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see. Like, let's maybe hold Bobby Kough to run Army running the table. We'll see if they can get a winning streak started next week here at Michie Stadium against Wake Forest. For NightCap, with Kevin Gleason, I'm Sal Interdonado.
Not a triple option team. It takes a half. It takes a half to use the speed, the tempo, shot blocking, the misdirection that they do now. It takes a half, and our guys eventually kind of got used to it and started to slow them down.
No, there was nothing that different they showed us. It's just a different type of game that you have to prepare for and obviously execute when you're out there. And, you know, they did a really good job. They played their butts off, and you know, we had to as well. We had to make some adjustments in the second half to stop the inside run. But overall, you know, we got the look all week. It's so much different, you know, when they're actually doing it for, you know, the scouts. And, you know, all the credit to them. They played their butts off, and we tried to match them in the race.
Again, I don't know if we've seen enough of them to know that. You know, again, they're close. They're so close in the practice environment that we just. I feel like we're going to try to give some. Until somebody emerges as a clear starter, we're going to take advantage of the fact that we got 2 guys that can make plays, and because they both make plays with their legs, they can both throw it. You know, there's some ups and downs about both of them. But again, let's slow it down and see what it looks like tomorrow in the final analysis, because there's some, you know, there's some great stuff on there, but there's also some stuff that's got to get right.
No, I think, excuse me, on each drive, you know, we're moving the ball, so we have the confidence on, you know, every single drive when we take the field, we have our confidence. But then again, like I said, there's every now and then there's one play where it's crucial and we need that. So I mean, yeah, we were stopped 3rd down, 4th, but at the end of the day, it's points on the board. So if we get back, you know, chalk it up, see what we did wrong, and come out next drive ready to, you know, capitalize.
I mean, as a defense, you know, going out there and 3 and out 2 times in a row at the beginning of the game, you know, that's pretty darn good in my opinion. You know, we made a few mistakes in the backfield. You know, sometimes our pass rush wasn't on point, but like you said, I think we did learn enough from ourselves that we know that we can play with anybody. You know, we don't have to worry about how big they are. We don't have to look at their weight anymore. You know, I think we've established ourselves as a D-line unit that, you know, we can play football. We're not undersized like everybody. You know, we are undersized, but we don't try.